today. Awesome. Can you guys hear this metronome? Sweet. Okay, amazing. Sweet. Everyone, because we're a lot of people today, please use the chat to ask any questions, any question you want. We usually kind of just free unmute ourselves and ask questions, but today we have a lot of people, so use the chat, okay? Awesome. So we're gonna go over a lot of the new things of this new update 12.1, which is, by the way, right now in public beta, so you can join. If anyone, please share the link of the beta program. You can join it in the chat. People can check it out. So you can already use this version, but it's not officially released. I don't know when it's going to be officially released, but I'm assuming very soon. Okay? But I'm just going to keep an eye on the chat. Okay, sweet. Thank you, Jeff. Lake Arrowhead team, what's up? Okay, awesome. Sweet. So let's say we might jump around because there's a lot of cool stuff. We'll see what's the order, but let's just jump right into it. So first of all, let's check out the auto shift, which is Ableton's live new auto tune, real-time pitch correction, which is absolutely amazing. It essentially replaces the auto tune or whatever other pitch correction tool you use. So let me load the project here. Let's go here. Let's check out this one. Sweet. Oh, more people are joining. Yes, beta 12 point, exactly, Wendy. That's the one. Nice. I might kind of throw you some stuff, some small stuff in between. For example, and this is weird for me, right here, we can now do full height browser. So the browser always takes this full column, which is strange if you're using Ableton long time, the browser never did that. So that's new in the upcoming Ableton. Okay, awesome. So let's check out this new auto shift effect, which is really awesome, very powerful, and can be very creative. I do want to mention that tomorrow I have a video, YouTube video on my channel, but it's it's sponsored by Ableton, and I'm basically showing you what I did in the video. So if you want this in a more condensed form, check out tomorrow on my YouTube, where I showcase this kind of ear candy tricks with the auto shift. But let's first of all check out the auto shift as what it is. Here I have vocals that are already processed, okay? They're dry, it's just a vocal sample. I won't stop running. Now let's load the auto shift. And first thing, it's important to mention that the auto shift, as you can see here, this one is Ableton's scale awareness. So right here in the top, we have this global, it's not global, it's just the selected key at the moment. And we had many effects, MIDI effects, for example, that were already able to be scale aware. So everything that I change here will be in this key, in this scale, okay? If we go into MIDI clips, there we go. Also here we have this scale, which allows us to work with all the MIDI tools in key, or even just show the scale and just edit in the scale, and so on and so forth. Auto shift is the first audio effect that is also scale aware. And in our case, it's a pitch correction tool. Let's go here. It's a pitch correction tool. So if I turn on the key mode, the scale awareness, it's going to lock to whatever is set here, okay? But now in Ableton 12.1, also audio clips have this scale selector. So we should anticipate, hopefully in the near future, a lot of new audio effects that also hopefully will be scale aware. And I'm assuming very soon, maybe already, if anyone knows, it's going to be opened up also to the Max for Live world to be some scale awareness with audio. So very cool stuff. So this is only going to set the scale right here, but you can also choose it manually if you want. You can also just draw in notes that you don't want, take out notes that you don't want the vocal to sing. So let's listen to the dry vocal. I'm going to change the key just to hear the pitch correction. I won't stop running 'cause I'm on luck. If I hate that you Okay, completely change it and sounds somewhat natural. Here, the smooth, if you take it all the way down, this will be more like a hard auto-tune T-Pain.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm...
Okay, but hopefully you can already hear, and I'm abusing these vocals, right? But you can already hear the quality of this effect. Okay, strength is just how much is going to correct into the nearest note. Nice. Now, one advantage here of using the key mode, which is absolutely amazing, if I turn on the key mode, and again, I already selected it for the key of my song, now we also are able to shift or essentially transpose, let me just let more people in, transpose the pitch correction in scale degrees, so in the context of F minor in this case. So if I go up, now I harmonize, let's take the dry wet down. Now I have the original vocals, but the auto shift is creating harmony in key to scale degrees above, usually like a third.
I won't stop.
Okay, I can take it down maybe.
I won't stop.
Okay, so now it's super easy to do this type of harmonies thanks to the key mode. If you want to do it manually, you can also open up right here the MIDI in, turn on the MIDI, and just you need an empty MIDI track to send MIDI to it. So I'm going to open up a new MIDI track, Command-Shift-T. I'm going to go back to the dry and listen. Let's call this harmonizer. And listen to the harmonizer track. Here it is. Sweet. I'm going to arm the harmonizer track. Okay, I'm going to solo that as well because I need to listen to it. And now, if I play the vocals and I have my MIDI keyboard right here, or we can also just create a clip if we want, but let me just quickly play a few notes here.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on.
And right now it's monophonic. Let me change it to polyphonic so I can play chords.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock.
Okay, I'm just playing notes on my MIDI keyboard here, sending MIDI to the auto shift, and now it's also a live harmonizer. Aaron, absolutely, even without harmonizing, just turning down the dry wet should be great for doubling. That's absolutely correct. Let's say close this MIDI, and let's not we're canceling the harmonization. Now it doesn't do anything. Well, it's and turning down the dry wet just to 50, already creating a doubling effect. Absolutely. We also have an official four-man shifter in Ableton. So if anyone is using Little, Alter Boy, and all those really high-quality four-man shifting, now we also have one here. Four-man shifting is changing the pitch without changing the tone without changing the pitch, okay, of the vocals. And let's put it on 100 so we can hear it.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock.
Okay, amazing stuff. And again, you can kind of layer the dry with maybe...
I won't stop running.
Right, so many amazing tones, vocal tones that you can explore here. I also explored some stuff with the synthesizers with the auto shift, so it's not only for vocals, but really awesome stuff. Here's the format follow. This will change the format with the pitch together. So if I change the pitch,
I won't stop running 'cause I'm...
Okay, so it's making the format follow the pitch for a more natural human tone. Sweet. Okay, now we also have a LFO section here, which allows you to create a bunch of cool effects and stuff, essentially adding some LFO movement to volume, panning, format, and pitch. And you also have a built-in vibrato right here.
I won't stop.
Okay, so that can be super cool stuff. You want that kind of crying Post Malone effects, you can do that. So let me show you some tricks before we move on from the auto shift. And of course, let me know if there's any questions. But some examples how you can take this. Let me delete this. This is just a vocal sample. There's no effects. There's no reverb. There's no echo. There's nothing harmonizing. Let's listen.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock. If I had that you button, I probably would take you back.
Okay, and now everything I just showed you, let's use that in some creative ways. So I'm gonna play now this with all these auto shift tricks that I'm showing in the video tomorrow. And notice that the key part here is the automations. You'll see a lot of things turning on and off. And that's what I would recommend doing when you're doing vocal production in general.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock. If I had that you, but I probably would take you back.
Okay, so quickly, I don't want to spend entire time today just on auto shift, but just some things here. For example, like what I showed you, I just took a rack and I layered it with a bunch of different auto shifts. Each one is like an octave above, octave below. These are all scale degrees. So although it's 2, it's probably 3 or 4 semitones, because the second scale degree is, or the third, it's the third scale degrees, because 0, it's a bit confusing, this all new system of scale degrees. 0 is the root note, so 2 is usually a third, but I'm going according to this. Okay, so these are all harmonizing, meaning that, for example, right here, let's listen to it without this rack
On lock.
and with the rack. And again, it's just new audio effect in Ableton. It's just a layer of this new audio effect in Ableton can create these beautiful vocal stacks.
On lock.
Amazing, love it. And you can do, format shifting automation.
If I had that.
Without it.
If I had that.
And with.
If I had that.
Okay, so a lot of those kind of small things that just makes the vocals a bit more interesting. Here is the usage with the LFO, where I changed the volume very rapidly, kind of creating this fan effect, like you're talking into a fan. Let's listen.
But
Okay, and at the same time, I'm also harmonizing with another auto shift. I'm harmonizing with these notes. Let's see if we can hear just that. Okay, hopefully you can hear that melody. Now here, I'm doing the same thing with the harmony. I'm just adding an arpeggiator to the notes. So let me find that one. Here, I think it's this. Here it is. I'm going to solo that. So now I'm listening to only the auto shift that is receiving MIDI from these notes, and these notes are being arpeggiated by this arpeggiator MIDI effect. Okay, and that's just a layer that is only turning on this phrase.
Running 'cause I'm.
Okay, and that's kind of a bit more kind of weird experimental effects that are super awesome. And here, even this example, that's one last example with this. I just took auto shifts, 2 of them, hand, hard left, hard right, and I automated the shifting. So it's kind of made my own harmony without needing to create MIDI notes manually. I just automated the shift parameter. Let's, I'll play with the music in a second. But here. Okay, that's the harmony that is on top of this. Nice. So again, with just auto shifts, there's mostly just auto shifts here. There's a delay at the end, but it's auto shifts, and it's a super awesome, amazing effect that I think makes redundant a few plugins that I used before that were like, I don't like to use plugins, but there was some stuff like pitch correction that I had to use autotune for. So super awesome. Let me know if there's any questions. Wait, let's stuff in the chat. Sadly, this autotune device isn't as features as others. Waves tuner. Oh, Deborah, what kind of features are you looking for? Was that LFO acting as a tremolo? Yes, Juan, exactly. I missed how you routed MIDI to the auto shift. Yes, let me do it again, Daniel. If I have right here the drive vocals, I'm gonna load auto shift. I'm gonna open up the MIDI in section and turn on MIDI on. I need an empty MIDI track to select here. So I'm gonna open up an empty MIDI track, call it whatever. Let's go back and let's select it. And then mono will only let you harmonize within 1 extra voice. Poly will let you harmonize with 4 up to 8 extra voices, okay? If you put it directly on the vocals, make sure that you turn down the dry wet. I would recommend start getting used to racks. So right click on the effect, on the auto shift, group it or Command G, open up the chain list right here, right click and create a chain. This is going to be my dry. And then I have this auto shift I can do whatever I want with. I can duplicate it, do more stuff here, duplicate, do different things, turn it down, change the panning, and create huge vocal stacks just with a rack. Save it, and then I have a bunch of different kind of vocal effects that are ready to go and load in any production. Montana had a question. What is the best way to have multiple versions of Live installed on my computer? You shouldn't have any issue installing any multiple versions on your computer. I recently also had 9 and 8. It was just, I didn't see, I needed some space. But as you can see, okay, it doesn't, I don't know if you're on a Mac or a PC. It is on a Mac, shouldn't be any issue in having multiple versions of Ableton on your computer, okay? What about auto shift for making samples fit into the scale of the project? Yes, but it's if you have like a guitar maybe, like a solo guitar, but if it's like a full sample, yes, you can try that. It can definitely be like an interesting filter, but because it's expecting a monophonic input, it won't give you the results you're expecting. I mean, again, worth experimenting. I did check it out. It's just weird on a whole sample, but individual monophonic instruments, absolutely. Aaron confirming he has 3 versions of Live on his PC and my Mac. Thank you so much. No problem having different versions. Okay, sweet. Absolutely. Any other questions on the auto shift? This is probably the biggest update and the most requested feature in Ableton's, I would say, in the last 15 years. Top of the list of features in getting auto-tune. Does AutoShift MIDI in support MPE? So there is, I believe, was there? No, I don't think, no. The AutoShift doesn't support MPE at the moment, although I would say that you can make it support MPE, but you mean like mapping it to different things with the keyboard, with the MIDI keyboard? We can maybe take expression control and then here take the MPE parameters like slide and pressure and map them to anything that we want to control with MPE in the auto shift while we also MIDI mapping. I was more thinking about bending different notes individually. Oh, yes, it does right here. So we can go pitch bend. Can we do 48? Yeah, I would say yes, you can. You can. That's a great question, Aaron. It seems like you can. Okay, awesome. Hey guys, also my kids are playing guitar. Let me know if you can hear it or not. I'll close the window. Okay. Oh, Adir, what are the benefits of using Mac for music production? I do have a MacBook Pro, nice, but I also have a very beefy PC. I use PC. Okay, great question. Beefy PC that you build yourself, and it's probably much cheaper than a beefy Mac. And you can use it for games. And so I would say if you have it at the studio, it can be amazing for music production. If you have like a crazy, amazing PC, it's amazing, especially if you're using really heavy things like big contact libraries and things that takes a lot of RAM. You might be able to, you for sure can have much more RAM on a PC. So yes, that being said, the new M chips processors of Macs are extremely powerful. I still have the M1. It's like a 13-inch laptop that runs my entire studio. It's not a beefy PC for sure, but it gets the job done. So if you're more of a, need a laptop, you're traveling, you want to perform as well with it, and you just can connect it to a big monitor in your studio and work with all the gear, laptop, MacBook for sure, and not Intel. No MacBook Intels anymore. No one should buy MacBook Intels. And if you have a MacBook Intel and you're looking to switch, obviously buy the new M chips. M1, M2 are amazing. There's some debate about the M3 that is not the most efficient right now with. Anyway, doesn't matter. They're amazing laptops. But if you're just in the studio, a beefy, especially if you play games as well, absolutely go with a beefy PC. Absolutely. Okay, sweet. Any questions on the auto shift? Let's move on. We have another new instrument, and it's also appearing under drums. You would find a drum sampler, but also here under instruments. Let's load it. Oh, wait. We said we're going to play it with the music, right? Here's the vocals. Is everything on? I think so. Here's with the music, just so you can hear the reference. Oh, whoa, let me turn this off. And I guess we need some reverb. Let's do some reverb. Here we go.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock. If I had that you, but I probably will take you back.
Okay, sweet. Let's say here we have an empty MIDI track. I'm gonna keep the chat open just in case. Let's load the drum sampler. So the drum sampler is designed to, and I'm assuming it's gonna happen very soon after, to be the default one where you drop samples in, let's drop whatever, here's an A, right? Drop samples in the drum rack. Right now, they're still in a simpler, but I would assume, replace simpler with drum sampler, that very soon the default one is gonna be the drum sampler, okay? So it's just a new sampler. It's designed for one-shot, short sounds. The most amazing thing about it, because everything else here you saw already, but these built-in effects, which are super fun. There's a bunch of them. Almost feels like a small kind of hardware sampler machine with these effects. If you have any controller, even the iPhone, you have some controllers that are XY, might be a bit more expressive, because as you can see, each effect here just have XY that controls those two parameters. Those two macros that became a theme with Ableton's 12, especially thanks to the Meld. Melds also have this two macro concept. So if you have a XY iPhone, if anyone wants to share an app, I'm sure there is, or even a joystick, you can now use it. I don't want to plug myself. I mean, we're here today and I'm teaching, but if you have any game controller, I released this gamepad control. You can use that as well with the XY. So let's say load maybe a kick instead of 808. Let's load a kick here. Let's try this. Nice. Let's switch it to a sampler. And just the effects here again. Some old school stretching. 8-beat. Okay. We got a sub oscillator. I don't know if you guys can hear it with headphones. It's just basically another oscillator to layer with pitch follow. So awesome stuff. Other than that, everything here is it's very basic. The simpler is much more powerful. Just these built-in effects will probably become very fun and creative to use. And again, if you have any controller with XY, I think it will give you more expression with this type of effects. Can be a lot of fun. Start in the chat. Oh, yeah, kick into ring modulation. Yeah, absolutely, Juan. XY Pal. What is that, Modulator? Is that an app? But anyway, iOS app? Okay, yeah. XY Pal. Sounds great. Okay, awesome. Here's a cool little thing that is awesome. And a lot of this stuff, just so you know, the development is kind of like there's a symbiosis relationship between the software and the push. So there might be some stuff that they're working on the push and like, hey, why we don't have this? And then we might see it reflect on the software. I don't know this for a fact. I'm assuming this is one of the things. Default groove. So now when you load a new project, let me load a new project here. We already have a groove loaded up as a default groove. So if I create a clip, I can see right here it's already loaded. And if I create a clip, right now I don't have any clips in my project, here or here. Let's create it. As soon as I create a clip, look here, look in this area, you're gonna see there's all of a sudden a new control, this one, which is the global groove amount, which is by default on 0. So if I load, let's say a drum rack here, you guys know this built-in kit, it's really nice, Garage. Let's loop that. Let's go like this. yeah, and then like that. And let's add some syncopation so we can hear the groove. We've got more people joining. Okay, maybe something like this. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. But right now, a global groove is on 0. So as soon as you create the first clip in the project, you already have this groove loaded up. And you have this, so you won't hear the groove until you turn up the global groove amount. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's speed it up. And let's turn this now to 100. Let's listen. Okay, again. Kind of straight. More shuffled. So that's super awesome that now they have kind of a default groove. Now right here, I can show my groove pool, which will show me this is my default groove. But if I want, I can switch it, or let's load, let's say, a different groove. Let's load like a SP1200 groove here. And I can make this one, this is the new button for auto load groove. So I can make this one, the one is going to be now the default, that every time I create a clip, it's going to have that groove on it. Okay? And you can turn it off if you don't want it. But super awesome. I like this feature. You can very much more quickly come into creating beats thanks to this feature. A lot of people don't use grooves or don't add grooves because it's not that accessible. So now it's just there, but remember about this global groove amount. You won't see it if there's no clips in the project, but as soon as you add one clip, it will appear, okay? Sweet. Oh, chat. Thank you, Nisi, for sharing. Oh, Mimu gloves. What is that? Oh, Gliss is the app? But the Mimu gloves is the Imogen hip gloves, no? I used to do power glove stuff with the music, if anyone ever following me for a long time. There's a movie called The Power of the Glove. If anyone interested, it's a documentary about the power glove. I might be in it. Aaron, the default groove is per project? Yes. We can have different defaults? Yes, exactly. Different defaults, different templates. Exactly, Aaron. Yes. So this is also reflecting the push. If anyone's on the push in 2 and 3, you can also do now with the new version, 12.1 on the push 2. I think it's push 2 point whatever. You can do grooves as well. So I can load the groove here. Let's delete this one. I can load any, let's go percussion. I want this perk a go-go accent groove. And this is now new icon that represent the new auto load groove, okay? And I can, again, like Aaron mentioned, save it as a template. And now I have a template with that groove. So new feature for default groove. Thank you, Nisi, for sharing the power of the glove. New default groove, okay? Really great feature. Sweet. Auto tagging. So I really hope this will only get better and better. But now, as you can see, we have this new icon right here. Oh, it's distorted? Guys, my audio all of a sudden distorted. Guys, let me know if my audio is distorted. Okay, it sounds okay. Okay. Might be had a hiccup with the Wi-Fi maybe? But guys, please keep telling me if there's any audio issues, okay? Sweet. Now we have this new icon right here, auto tags. Excuse me. Okay, so right here we have my own sample packs. These are sample packs that are on my computer, external hard drive. And now we have this new icon right here, auto tags. And if I open up the filters, it actually went through all my samples. And it might take a while once you open up 12.1 for the first time. But it went over them and auto tagged them as much as it could. So for example, loops, the main issue here that it's quite endless. It's quite endless. So if I scroll down, then show more, and so on and so forth. So you might have to do further tagging, but now I can take a loop. I want a guitar and pluck loop. Let me see what I can find. That's not, oh. Right, maybe I want like a mallet. Do I have mallet loops? Okay, super awesome. Unfortunately, it still doesn't tag it with key. That would be amazing in the near future. But it does tag it with all these kind of key elements, kicks, claps, all of that. It usually gets it right. So this new auto tagging, you can turn it off if you don't want to see it. But it's a really great feature that I would assume will only get better with time. Okay, that's but I usually show it. So that's the auto tagging. Sweet. New limiter. Let's go back there. It might make more sense if we do it with the music. This is a big deal. We had the limiter. Let me know if there's any questions on the auto tagging. We had this limiter, old school one in Ableton for, I don't know, close to 20 years probably. Maybe more. Anyway, now we have a new limiter, and it's really amazing, really great. I think it does come close to the industry standard, and you again might eliminate a few plugins that you might use before to just get some extra boost for your volume. So let's say just I'm gonna turn it on right here on maximize, which will turn up the volume and take down the ceiling at the same time, the threshold at the same time, essentially maximizing the volume. Let's say just listen to it. I also like to put it in mid-side mode right here, so it gives us two different maximum limiters for the mids and the sides.
I won't stop running 'cause I'm on lock. If I hate that you, but
Okay, super awesome stuff. Soft clip if you want, but it will create distortion, and even true peak, okay, if you need that intersample clipping. Really amazing. You can kind of turn it into the old school one, but this one is amazing, not only for mastering essentially, but put it on like just your drums, just the kick, the snare. It's just, if you need anything to boost the volume, it's absolutely incredible, especially if you start mixing it with the roar and all the new Saturator we're gonna check out. So new limiter, super awesome, and again, probably eliminate a few plugins. I wouldn't recommend it using it in a live performance. If I move my mouse over it, you can see here on the command line, the status bar on the bottom, that it does introduce some latency, okay? Even if the look ahead is the lowest. So just consider that the more you use these, the more it will stack up, the latency will accumulate. Although we can now, right here, I can turn off the keep latency. I can turn off completely the delay compensation, but with this look ahead stuff, it might affect your transients. So again, don't use it in live performance, just export or stem out your music with it already. Okay, that's my main recommendation for that. Juan, do you think it's like a compressor 8 that I can keep a transparent, no latency on my master? Just for protection? No, absolutely you can keep it, especially with true peak, and just set right here, set the ceiling. Yeah, for sure, it is kind of a safe one, but it does introduce the least amount. Let's see, 2.7, 1.3. Least amount is 1.3, which is not crucial if that's one of the main things that introduce latency for you. Oh, you're saying with the old one? I would assume that somewhere we can probably access the old one. If we go core library, devices, audio effects, is there a legacy one here? Because I don't know, remember the old here, legacy. They didn't put yet the limiter. It's gonna be here. I'm sure you're gonna have access to the old one. But here, if anyone wants access to the old chorus, you guys remember this one? Or all those, the Redux. Damn, look at this old school one. But it's there in the core library. So I'm assuming you would have access to it. Okay, did I miss anything? Okay, sweet. That's the new limiter, okay? New Saturator also was redesigned, which is, again, if you're using Ableton for a long time, it's a big deal, because something so staple as the Saturator all of a sudden is new and different. So we have all the classic modes, but we have a new mode, Bass Shaper, which is probably great, which is mainly designed for the 808 stuff. There's a lot of also, you know, looking at the competition, Fruity Loops and all of that. And can we do this? Here we go. I'm gonna load a project here. Where is it? Here we go. Let's load the old one before I did some processing. Okay. Let me enable this. Here we got plugin sublab, just making a sub. Music context. Oh, I need my drums. This is an old project, so as you can see, I have some media files missing. I'm just gonna show it where it is. Thank you very much. Okay, nice. So let's say I listen to the bass here, and I'm gonna load the new Saturator. And here, let's say I choose the Bass Shaper. We now have, let's loop this with the drum. Okay, another huge addition here is now we have hard clip. Okay, and hard clip won't introduce as much coloration as a soft clipper. And it can be really nice to really boost things loudly. Okay, if I open up this expander window, here we also have this color curve similar to the color that we had in the old Saturator, but now it's more visualized. So as you can see, as I turn it down, the low frequencies will be less affected by the Saturator. And more. So now the low frequencies are completely distorted, we lose all the bass. So we have this new color window, color curve. We can also add here more another bandpass filter right here, pair bell filter. Sweet. New Saturator. Also here, no, you can go back. They will add the legacy one, I'm assuming. If not, like Juan mentioned, he mentioned this. I give all my students this compressor from Ableton Live 8. As you can see, we have an upgrade button. We're not going to click it. We saved it as a preset just so we have this compressor, these algorithms that, in my opinion, were much cleaner for sidechaining than the built-in new ones. Okay, this one is the feed-forward ones. Okay, Saturator. Super awesome stuff. I didn't miss anything in the chat. Okay. Nice. Search MIDI notes. I'm going to need to go to a project with some MIDI notes or just create. But let's see where we can go. Let's create a new project. And I'm going to load. Let's start with drums. It will be easier to explain what's going on there. I'm going to load the kit here. We're going to make a quick beat. It sound like that. Let's duplicate that. Okay. And then, whoops, this needs to be the snares. This is the hi-hats. Let's do something like that. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Let's launch it. And let's speed it up. Okay, nice. Now, right here, we have this new feature to search MIDI notes. So if I turn it on, now I can search MIDI notes by all these different parameters. Okay, so let's say pitch, I can just click on them. And here we can select different ones. Time. But some interesting things here, for example, if we go count, so I can do every 2 and then offset, okay, or every 3. Right, I can select them, and then them, I can do whatever I want to them, because now I select them, right? I can change the velocity just to them, the chance, whatever I need to do. But this is just to find MIDI notes, and especially if you have very complex kind of one MIDI clip, might be a lot easier to start locating all the stuff that you need. Okay, so this is just finding MIDI notes. Wait, we got someone in the chat. What is condition? Active or chance and velocity. So active, for example, let's deactivate these ones. And then if I choose just the active ones, you see, it's only choose the ones that are active. Chance is if you have right here, we can turn on the chance lane and maybe give, let's say, these notes.
Wow, how come I'm just like stop here?
Oh, guys, these notes, and then
is it like off-brand or something?
Only those notes were selected.
Really?
Guys, please mute yourself.
No, that's Tanzanian.
Wait, let me check the. Here we go. Okay. Sweet. Nice. Yeah. And velocity deviation is if you're in the velocity lane, and this is velocity and chance you already have. If you're in the velocity lane right here, you can hold command and then create a deviation, meaning that you can also use this, meaning that every time this note plays, the velocity will be randomized in this range. So then this will select just the notes with velocity deviation. You can also invert the selection of each one. Okay, so again, this is just to find notes and change specific notes in a MIDI clip. So that's new in 12.1 as well. Sweet, we got a new MIDI tool, which is super fun. Let's, for example, I'm gonna load a sound here. Let's load maybe this. Okay, and actually, before we do this, it will maybe make more sense if we go here. Okay, I don't know if anyone is already using the stacks MIDI effect. Wait, Juan asked a question. Trying to keep my loops alive, I used to do deviation to most notes, but it's a big time investment, so I have a velocity device with small random. Absolutely, yes. Juan is talking about this. If you don't want to do it to all your notes, just load the velocity MIDI effect, and right here you can add randomization to the velocity. Absolutely works great. Thank you, Juan. Okay, let's say I create a clip here. Let's create 4 bars. Okay, nice. Now, if we go right here to the MIDI generation tools, we have the stacks. And you already have this if you're using Ableton 12. I don't know if anyone already using this, but it's just a way to create chords. You can create up to 4 chords. I'm going to turn on the MIDI preview just so we can hear the chords as I click and change them. So I'm going to click on the first chord. And now I can move up and down. Change the chord type with command up and down. And I can change the inversion with option. Octaves with shift. And I can even change the order of the chords with option, shift, and arrow keys. The one thing that they don't have, which I told them about, is how do I change the selection of the chord? Does anyone know? It's driving me crazy. Why now? Okay, I finished. I have this one first chord. I'm great. I love this chord. I want to move the selection to the next chord to work on the next chord. How? Anyway. No, yeah, Juan, you have to select it with the mouse. Exactly. What the hell? What the hell? How fast can you make chord progressions if they will allow you to go to the next chord and work on the next chord? It would be crazy. Why? I have to touch the mouse? Anyway. Ooh. Oh, by the way, you can also use shift to change the length of the note. That's already exists in Ableton. And you can use just the arrow keys to move the length of the note. So very easily we can make some. So I just click on them just to hear kind of the progression. Yeah. No, this let's make shorter. This let's move here. And ooh. Okay. Nice. That wasn't my point at all. This you already have. You can use it. Wait. We had the Alt to navigate notes. Yeah, no, Juan, I know that's for notes with the stacks. It doesn't, they don't have it. Not that I know of. I asked in the certified trainer groups. I told Ableton. It's Aaron, that would be great, but I'm assuming it's coming. That's beyond me why they wouldn't do it. Anyway, wait, that wasn't even my point. Stacks is amazing. You saw how amazing it is? Now, and this is going to be a few minutes of nerdiness. Bear with me, okay? Because now you can build your own JSON files, JSON, which are very easy. So you can see it's mostly just numbers. So you can create your own. This is just the rules for the chords where it's in key mode. This is 12, it's rules for chords that are off, chromatic. And this is for scales with 5 notes, like pentatonics. And this is a scale for 8 notes, like 8 tones, like whole tone. Or that has 6. No, 8 has different, more exotic scales. So now, you just have to have it somewhere on on Ableton's browser that you can see, for example, desktop. I have it right here. I'm going to double click on it. And now, as you can see, we have our own custom chord sets. So if I change that, ooh, that's nice. Oh, that's already nice. And by the way, how I did it, by the way, is I went to ChatGPT. I gave him the example that Ableton gave. There's going to be a guide on this. It's not, there's no guide yet. But I gave it the example that Ableton gave. I told him, hey, give me this type of chords, jazzy, open, whatever. And I didn't write this, okay? You do have to tell it remove comments. There shouldn't be any comments here. But this is a new feature, allows you to add new chord sets to, ooh, what happened? Oh, because we turned this off. Can we go back to the, let's go fit to scale. No, anyway, we'll make our own chords. But the new chord set rules that you can create by just creating this text file with some coding, JSON coding. They use it for guitar tablatures and stuff, I believe. It's used in music somewhere else. Misha, I'm sorry. Ripcord, exactly. Ripcord, by the way, it's amazing. If anyone don't want to wait for 12.1, Ripcord is free, and it's exactly that. It's absolutely incredible. Check out Ripcord. How do you use jazzy chords for stacks? No, this is just like one that I got out of the beta forum. So it's another chord set that someone made. I made my own. So it's just, and I'm assuming you're going to see people start releasing chord sets very soon. I can share with everyone, I can share these ones if you want. Okay, very soon we're going to start seeing also some chord sets. Super cool stuff. But already stacks is amazing. So check it out if you haven't done so already. Okay, by the way, your Ableton might look like this, and it's under generate. I personally prefer it open. I can have access to all these tabs, but it's really up to you how you want to work with it. Okay, awesome. Let me know if there's any questions on the stacking chords. Damn it, we needed that chord progression. What happened? I had a nice progression, and now can I undo? Can I undo? No, we're going so far. I want to go back to my progression. Was it this? Isn't this? Never mind. Let's go. And I'm going to go upright piano. And we're going to go and load a progression here so we don't have to spend time from the packs. Upright piano, MIDI clips. Here we go. Let's go progression. Ooh, let's start it. Everyone have this, yeah? This is under the upright piano pack. If you just download it, upright piano, inside you get MIDI clips. You have a lot. And they're just MIDI clips, so we can see that here. Okay, first thing we want to do is I need to consolidate some time. I'm going to highlight all of this time. I'm going to hit Command Option J. Oh, let's see it in the context menu. Right click, fit to time range, Command Option J. Okay, you don't really need to do this. Usually I just want to show you the new MIDI tool that Ableton have. That's all we need. I'm going to hold up a Command Shift and just bridge this. Let's crop the clip. Okay. Okay. I want electric piano. No, we don't need, that's fine. Okay, nice. Now, if I go to the MIDI transformation tools right here, we have a new tool, 3 new tools, but a new tool for regular notes, which is the chop. Okay, so if I choose the chop, let's say I'm going to choose this first chord. Although they're all the same length, so we should be okay by just selecting all of them. Okay, and we have the sustain pedal on. Let me load the CC control. This is a new effect, and we can just click the sustain pedal here. I'm sorry for jumping to this such substantial point so quickly. I just want to mention this as well. If you're using MIDI clips, sometimes you'll have those, the sustain pedal just kind of, you stop the MIDI clip while the sustain pedal was on. So we used to have to go to the envelopes and go here, and then go there, here it is, here's the sustain pedal. I had to stop the clip exactly there, or move it here, okay, and then one. But now just load the CC control under MIDI effect, here we go, okay? Sweet. Where was I? Chop MIDI tool. Exactly what it is. We just can chop up the MIDI to different sections. But let's do like 8. We can also add gaps. I'm gonna select everything, add some deviation down. Okay, I can also manually start removing. Oh, wait, I wanna select everything. Deviation down. And let's add some gaps here. Nice. And now I can manually also kind of sequence my chords from here. I need to add more sustain pedal there in the middle. Each step I can also stretch. So you see what happens if I take the first step right here? You can create all sorts of interesting rhythms. Here's the amount of stretch. So it's a variation. Okay, super cool stuff. Here I'm doing it on chords, but think about taking a bass, right? And just having like a few notes of the bass, whatever, and then doing that and creating all sorts of cool rhythms for your bass as well. But new chop tool, really great. I'm assuming I'm going to see some improvements in it in the near future. Just room for some more stuff, especially here when you start stretching them. It's very hard to then get it. I'm sure there's going to be like a quantize button. You can always just quantize, but there's going to be something to lock to the grid. So that's the Chop MIDI tool. Really fun, cool stuff. I got stuff in the chat. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Chiara. Okay. Sweet. So that's the Chop MIDI tool. Aaron, for bass specifically, an octave randomizer would be pretty sweet. Oh, that's a great point. So let's jump just a second. I'm going to jump to, where is it? I need to jump somewhere because, oh, here we go. Chain MIDI transformation tools. This is hidden in the release notes. I went over the release note preparing for today. This is somewhat hidden. It's crazy. You can now chain MIDI transformation tools. Let's try it, see if it works. So here we have these notes. First of all, I'm going to just Command J, highlight the notes, Command J, just so we can consolidate. Okay, now we want to chop them up. So I'm going to chop them to 8. And then I'm going to go, no, before I chop them to 8, sorry, let me undo that. Okay, you need the order. So let's start with the arpeggiate. Arpeggiate, I'm going to hit random and here. Okay, now this is an octave randomizer. Let's do just one octave. So every time I hit transform, it's going to randomize what's the octaves that are randomizing. And now down here, we also see that arpeggiate is our first MIDI tool that we use. This already chopped them up, so I don't need to use the chop tool. But let's say let's try, I don't know, span. I'm gonna change the variation. Now we also start seeing right here, now we have arpeggiate going to span. And we're gonna try maybe strum. Strum will do something, sure. And then recombine, which is also kind of redesigned. Let's shuffle them. Okay, so now as you can see, we have this chain of MIDI transformation tools. So whenever I go back to one of them, it's going to add the variation in the chain, okay, whatever reflect later on. So this is a really great kind of hidden feature that is coming to 12.1. I'm not sure it's working 100% correctly, but you can change stuff. What is that sound? Anyway, you can change stuff. But octave randomizer with the arpeggiate MIDI transformation tool. Okay, nice. New MPE transformation tools. Damn, check this out. Now it's super easy with instruments that support MPE. Can you save that chain? That's a great question, Nissi. No, not at the moment. That's what be cool. I don't think you can save any, and yeah, it's already disappeared. You were committed. Okay, now any synthesizer and a lot of plugins do support MPE. Now it's easier than ever to glide between chords. Let's do a chord here. And now it's also a good time to mention a small thing about the Meld. Where's Meld? Meld. Let's jump here. I'm gonna do it in by order. Just to make the sound for the chords, we're going to talk about gliding the chords between one another. But right here, we now have in the Meld, we have this phase reset and phase spread. Listen, I don't want to take credit because it's for sure not me. But when I did an official video for Meld, I interviewed the creator of, or one of the main programmers of Meld, Christian Klein, Max for Cats. I asked him about it, and he said, oh no, we'll add it to the list. I'm not saying anything, but now we have phase reset and phase spread. That means that when I use the spread here to create kind of a detune between the voices, it's actually is randomizing the phase. Okay, let's stack it. Okay, like a super saw, and if we don't have that, okay, it creates kind of this laserish sound because everything starts from the beginning. So now we have this. Let's just make a sound here with some spread. There we go. Let's make it brighter but filter it. Okay, maybe something like this. Let's take it octave low. Sweet. Let's maybe add to see if it's cool, add a bass. Okay, duplicate that a few times. And let's switch the chords maybe every 2 bars. When we'll go here. Okay, nice. I'm gonna go into the MPE window, okay, right here. And this MPE allows us to change the pitch to every MIDI note separately. So I can, for example, take this note, bring it here, and you'll hear only that note. Okay, now we have a new MIDI tool called Glissando. I can highlight this. Whoa. I can highlight these 2 chords and hit transform. And you see it's automatically added this gliding between the chords. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of attack so we don't get that click in the beginning. Why? More release. We have, it's because of the notes. Wonder why, it doesn't matter. Let's then now take this back down or continue. Jonathan Stein do this? Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Stein is a master of also on the push, doing it live, but also editing it in MIDI. Let me add this chord. I'm going to duplicate this again, but I'm not going to use this. I'm going to take this clip out to here just so I can easily glide between these two as well. That's it. Okay, but Glissando, new MIDI transformation tool. Hey! We still had that click. Why is the click? I'll have this something that's not. Okay, anyway, but Glissando, really great. I don't think the click should happen with other synths. Might be something in the Meld. Notes have to be overlapping. Could be. Probably triggering 2 attacks. Still, I don't. Not an excuse, in my opinion, for the synth. There's something wrong there. Aaron wish Glissando would let you merge the notes so they don't re-attack. Absolutely. That would be super cool. I mean, I don't think it should be also a big problem with a long release. There's enough voices. Maybe it's the voices. Let's give it. We still get the click. Something's no. The click, no. That's not. Something's wrong there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Can we try it with the wavetable? With unison. I don't know. I don't know, guys. That even if it's re-triggering the attack, why would it make a click? Something that's not. With operator. Just 1 second, guys. Let's check with Serum. MPE enabled. 48. Okay. Let's let me turn it down just a tiny bit here. Okay. I'm gonna put it on a sine wave just so we can hear it. Let's give it some unison. And let's give it some attack. And some release. More release. We can still hear that. Okay, so the solution for that, and this is where maybe more similar to Jonathan Stein. That's so annoying. I hope they will fix that, Aaron, like you mentioned, not re-triggering the attack. But let me show you a fix, a workaround. So instead of creating a lot of chords, I'm just going to create one chord. And my chord progression is here. Okay, so that's annoying. And that's what someone mentioned, Jonathan Stein, and I highly recommend go check it out if anyone want to share the video. But this is how I'm going to make my chord progression. Okay, and this is how you can start creating your melodies. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, just going crazy here, but I don't think it's going to sound good. But let's change the chord also here. So you see each note, I would have to click on it and change it to the next note. Where is the line? Here's the line. I just randomly drew, but this is how we can make it smooth if you just have a long sustained sound. Okay, that's off topic, but nonetheless, that's how we do it. Let's delete the notes a second because I want to show you one more thing here. There's a new tool. I haven't got really deep into it. I feel like there's easier ways of doing it, but I'm sure there's going to be amazing stuff people come up with, which is an LFO on the MPE. So now, if I select this note, it's very easy to create this pitch, you see? I can create all sorts of pitch, vibrato, LFO, randomization. Okay, so can it be super cool, especially this? Let's turn it down like super low. Oh, 0.3. Yeah, something like that. And now it creates a much more realistic, pitch drifting. Maybe we'll slow it down. But that might be a good usage for it. Vibrato could be cool. But again, just a LFO now that it's on the MPE, but you can also LFO the other parameters down here in the MPE slide and pressure. Sliding on the pad and pressure pressing. Okay, whoops, sorry. Okay, sweet. Sorry. Okay. Let me know if there's any questions. Let's continue. Oh, this is huge. I wrote down the keyboard shortcut because it's a new keyboard shortcut, so I probably won't remember it. But Command Option Z now opens up an undo history. It's crazy. It's 12.1. Sometimes I feel like I look at these features, I feel like they planned to do it at 12, they didn't have time. So now they release it. Because these features are insane. Anyway, you work on a project. It was kind of, hey, oh my God, let me go back to before, undo history. Okay, well, let me check the chat. Could you double check again to your Glissando is being done on MPE tab? Yes, Juan. When I go to the MPE tab, Glissando, you have to select multiple notes together, and then it will glide between them. Okay, you have to select multiple together. Can you just not add the second chord? Yeah, you can add a second chord. We just had that click, I don't know what that click. There are no automation shapes in MPE, right? Do you know if there are coming for making small vibratos? Oh, yeah, we just answered that. Nice. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Wait, something more in the chat. This feels like a mess. Yeah, Alexandra, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy update. Just the auto shift, but all of this stuff, it's insane. Okay, this is more small things, okay? Automation keyboard workflow. So now if we're in the arrangement view and we have some sort of automation, let me go back here. Now I can select, okay, I can move with my arrow keys in the automation, click enter to create a breakpoint, move up and down, whatever I want, enter again, right? I can even write the value, enter, move. Okay, if I want to move between breakpoints, I can select one and then hit tab or shift tab to move between them. So just more ways of editing automation with the keyboard, which is great. I feel like it's more accessible that way. For people who might not be able to use the mouse. Okay, full height browser we talked about. Echo smoothing time. Small stuff, but I want to make sure we just check out everything. Echo. Now Echo, by default, it's on repitch mode right here. So that means if I change the time, let's say put it on time. If I change it, wait, let's say bring it back to a saw. Okay. Sweet. So by default, it's on repitch mode. Now we have this new parameter, smoothing time. But let's listen to what repitch does. Right? So it just takes the delay and change the time of the delay, mimicking like turntable or tape, when it also changed the pitch. So now I can change the smoothing time between those new. Let's do a high feedback. And if I do a really high, so we can hear it takes much longer to change the pitch. So small, but just it's the smoothing time for the echo. Just 1 second, guys. My cable is stuck here. My mic cable is stuck. Just 1 second. Okay. Sweet. Let me see in the chat. Delay time is, yeah, Alexander, so you're going to have a lot of fun with the smoothing time, because I think it gives you much more kind of variation on what you can do with automating the delay time. And everyone, highly recommend automate delays and automate delay times. You can create some super awesome stuff. Ben, that would be nice with another eighth note delay, kind of, yeah, combining them, absolutely. Yes. It's a small, but now Echo is updated. It's really great seeing even those effects that are already established in there, and Echo is amazing getting those small updates. Okay, envelope follower sidechain. If anyone using the envelope follower already, if anyone following me on Instagram, I did post a video kind of showcasing this. Let me show you the same thing, actually. No, I think it's this. Okay, so envelope follower is just a MIDI effect or modulator that listens to incoming volume, how loud the signal is, and then you're able to map this kind of graph, this kind of line that is creating, listening to the volume, to control anything that you want. So if I go to the vocals right here, I have it here, let me delete that. So I'm gonna go under modulators, envelope follower, and envelope follower, again, it's listening to the incoming audio and is able to create a graph. So let's listen to here, right here, there's some vocals. I'm gonna turn everything down, but it's gonna create this graph right here. Falling in love. Okay, right here. And we can take this shape and map it to anything that we want. Now, the new addition in the envelope follower is that now we have a sidechain section, so I can listen to audio from a different track, which is very useful because now I can go, for example, I want to create a dynamic EQ. I can go to my music group. I'm going to add the envelope follower on the group right after an EQ. Here I have just one filter point, okay? You can add more if you want, of course. You should probably. I'm going to change it to remote just so we can visually see what's happening. And I'm going to map this to the gain of this filter point, okay? And I want this to move according to my vocals. Right now, it's just listening to the music. Okay, I want it to listen to the vocals, so this is where it comes handy. I can open up the sidechain, turn on sidechain, listen to my vocals. Now it's listening to the vocals. Let's listen. Well. Falling in love, you don't have to. Okay, but let's say bring up the gain so it's, oh, sorry, we have to mix it. That's, I don't know why they do this. This should be on by default. Now it's the vocals. Now it's the vocals, okay? We still have to adjust it because right now it's all the way down. I want it to start in the middle, so minimum 50. And then I want, every time the vocals come up, I want it to drop down. So I'm going to do below 50, let's say 35. And now the louder the vocals, the more it's going to turn down this EQ, creating a dynamic EQ with the drums. Falling in love, you don't have to, you don't need to. Falling in love, it's a game you don't. Okay, sweet. Envelope follower, sidechain, really great, very handy. You can still do everything I did right now with the previous versions that have envelope follower. Now it's just easier, because before I had to put the envelope follower on the vocals, let's turn off the sidechain, on the vocals, and then click map, go to the other track, map it here. Works the same way. Now it's just easier, because everything is on the same track. With the vocals, I can also maybe map it, group it, save it, and then only map it to the vocals, wherever the vocals is. So anyway, making things more audio reactive became much easier, at least with the mapping. Sweet. And you can also combine the two signals if you need, and so on. Okay. Tuner support tuning systems. Not only the tuner, the global key mode as well. Let's start a new project. Let me know if there's any questions. Oh, chat. Oh, you're missing a filter? That's a good point, Juan, actually. That's a really good point. Like a detection filter, like the compressor have. I agree. That's a great feature request. Okay, let's go and load here again. I'm going to go back packs. Let's go again with it. Here we go. That's perfect. I want it a bit louder, so let's put the limiter on. Maximize it. Okay, awesome. Now, if I put, let's see, first of all, let's go right here, open up the tuning section. I'm going to go back to go to our tunings. Let's do like Arabic Maqam, and let's double click on it. Okay, let's turn on our keyboard. Now, first of all, as soon as you choose a different tuning, you would see it start reflecting in most places, almost every place right now, as we get to the new updates in Ableton. So you can see now it starts representing all these different annotations that we don't know, and each one will be maybe different. Even let's go like this. Now we change the notes. Damn. Anyway, now we're going to see it reflecting, at least the ones that can reflect. You see that disappeared because this specific one couldn't reflect that. But with these ones we can. And if I play a piano to a tuner, now that we have, you see, it also reflects those notes that we don't have in the regular Western equal temperament system. So tunings now reflect both in the MIDI as well. Let's say, do we have that? Here you see, even here. If we have a tuning that is that weird ones, like these ones, it even gives, look at that. So now everything will reflect those new tuning systems. Some of them would even give you an option to learn more right here, you see? Right here I can click on that and it will take us, oh, what? Wait. Some of them definitely work. Damn it. Anyway, there's tuning. I need to just update the links, but it will take you to a page explaining about that specific. I'm sure this one has. About that specific maqam or tuning or scale or micro tuning. Amazing stuff. And I would recommend if you have MIDI clips or if you just try to experiment with the tunings, you can create some very interesting, as you heard, it was very dark. Not even gloomy, kind of oblivion kind of feeling almost, but still super interesting. And we need that type of interesting as we're going into the AI age. We have to distinguish ourselves, right, as humans. Alexander, the history and stories behind alternate tuning are so freaking interesting. Some of the tuning also map to push, which is really fun. Yes, I didn't fully explore the tuning yet, except Arabic Maqams, because I just love the music. I have an oud, stuff like that. But now that it's built in, it's absolutely amazing. By the way, if anyone is running on older versions of Ableton, you can also use the micro tuner, which is super cool. That can also work. So yes, absolutely. Aaron, a bunch of Maxwell devices are going to need updates to follow suit with the tunings. Yes, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of updates coming, including to MIDI remote scripts. If anyone is using MIDI remote scripts, whoops, not here. These are also going to need updates. Okay, sweet. Release velocity, that's so tiny. Some libraries, like contact libraries, might have some sounds, like you hear the piano release the key with release velocity, like how fast you release the note. So now we have access to release velocity as well right here. Okay, again, depends on what you use. Although you can also, I made an old video, that's from the BitLab days, how you can make your own by making like a prepared piano where every note you release, it's like a different sound. And you can do it with the note length. Here you can listen to note offs. Anyway, doesn't matter, that's a super small thing, just so you know. Multi-clip editing indicator, that's super useful. I don't know how many people are already using the multi-clip MIDI editing, but it it can be so crucial for some projects when you need to see. I also need to create some notes here. When I need to, let's create some notes here. And some notes. I want really long notes here. Okay. Sweet. Yes, that's fine. And then a few notes here. Okay. Nice. So now if I select all these clips together and I go to the clip view, now we can see all those clips at the same time. I can focus only on one clip at a time, but now also it's much easier because we have this indicator right here, especially if they're going to be the same length. We have this indicator that is new. Okay, so that's just a small thing, but worth mentioning. Okay, Recombine tool we saw. It's just updated. Recombine tool allows you to change the order of the MIDI in all sorts of ways. Recombine it. Highly recommend checking it out. This is that's a doorway to break Ableton, and I'm always encouraging anyone who can to break his artistic tools if he or she, or if they can, because that's how we progress usually whatever we're doing as a species. We have to push our tools to the limits, and this might be an opening, one of the many, endless, to do that. And that's Mappable MIDI mapping tool, MIDI tools. So now all this stuff you can MIDI map. Okay, so that again might give you a new performance ideas, you know, creating all sorts of generative performance, semi-generative performances. It can be still generative if you automate or randomize, right? But everything is mappable now, so also very, yes, you can play with transform tools live. Yes, although, you know what, now that I think about it, oh yeah, wait. I mean, the shortcut for this is Command Enter. I wonder why you can't map this. I'm assuming because it's going to break Ableton, because you can just spam it. But essentially, oops, I don't want this. Let's do this. I can hit Command Enter, and then these ones I can map. So I can map that, Command Enter, Command Enter. Hopefully they will also let us map this soon. Okay, but these are now mappable. They weren't before. Highlight keyboard for MIDI tools, pitch bend, pitch range. Oh, yeah, that's a small thing. Let's say I'm going to create a new clip here. Let's say, is this frozen? No, it's just, we need to go here. There we go. This one. And what is that? Do you guys hear that sound? I'm not sure why that sound is. It's so weird. Okay, so let's say I want to create something here with the seed MIDI tool. So now, if I hold Option and just drag, you can see I can manually select the range of the seed MIDI tool just like this. You see that? So just that's the range. I want one more notes. So that can be quite useful when generating, using the generation tools. Okay, split arrangement clips from clip view. So if I'm here, I can use Command Shift E. You see what happened? Let me undo that. You see, I can place my, and then I can split the clip inside the clip view. I don't have to go here. Small, but worth mentioning. Oh, this one can be quite big. Okay, so this one is, let's say I have a drum rack. And we're going to create a clip here. Let's create some drums. Faster. Yeah, maybe something like that. Okay, hats. Ugh, I thought it's a different. Let's try the clap. That's an ugly clap. Okay, so we'll take this snare. I pass it here. I'm gonna go sound similarity. Let's just change the snare. There we go. Maybe sound like, no. Yeah, that should be good. Let's put it here. Okay, and let's just do 2 bars. Delete this. Zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Now, so let's say I'm gonna take this note. I'm gonna hit Command E, and then no, not this note. Let's try this note. I'm gonna hit Command E. I'm gonna keep holding Command and use my arrow keys. Okay, let's say like 5. Okay, nice. Now I can go right here under the MPE, and this is a drum rack, okay? And here I have pitch bend. Okay, so I can take, although, oh, it's each one. That's annoying. But here I can take and start pitch bending, which would be great if you have, that's not a good example with hats. Let me consolidate this. This will still have to do the regular pitch bend. But let's say we have an 808. That's gonna be, it should be much lower in pitch. I just pitch it down a bit. Okay, this is all built-in stuff from the trap drums by Sound Oracle pack from Ableton Live 12. But let's say I have a 808 right here. Let's put another one here and here. Right, so now I can go to the MPE and I can take this and I have pitch bend. Where's the pitch bend? Pressure, pitch bend. Just for this note inside the drum rack. I don't need to need a different MIDI track or a completely different track. Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, pitch bend inside the drum racks. Cool stuff. Lastly, new slicing presets. So this is when you take a sample. Damn, let's take tunes. Here we go. Let's bring it in. Let's say take only, let's say this section. I'm gonna right click and choose slice to new MIDI track. Here, now we have new slicing presets, and it's been a long time since they updated this, which I think are much better. Let's do the default one. Let's hit OK, and you'll see that they just come already. They slice up the audio, but they already come with macros that are much more musical and expressive than the old slicing, the default slicing preset. So this one also small but huge change if you're using this slice to new drum rack things. Chia, you might take credit for this feature being added to the list for a long time ago. Yeah. Oh, I talked to someone in support, told me they sparked the conversation. Nice. Okay, thank you. Yes, because it's been a long time with the old slicing preset, and they were like not the most kind of, you know, let's go slicing MPC style. So these ones are great, super awesome. The other ones are also great, worth exploring, and there's even ones for like vocal chops and stuff. Where is it? Vocal slices, low end, I'm guessing for like bass stuff, and even some MPE. These ones are just added with effects, okay? And by the way, if you just want to know where the effects are, let's open up the chain list, inputs, outputs, okay? And the returns and sends. So they're all being sent to this return chain, and inside the return, that's kind of like your master or your bus processing effect, okay? So just, you know, that's how mostly they did it with those slicing presets. Awesome stuff. That's new, okay? Now, I do want to mention that there is some significant updates to the push. Most notably, now you can use these variations and you can group things and you can map macros from the push. So it's really amazing for the push standalone, but also just if you're using the push as a controller. I think also for the push 2, definitely for the push 3, because that's what I have, that's what I checked it on. I have the push to somewhere, I have to check it, but really big significant changes, it definitely was missing. It's still a lot of stuff are missing, but it definitely was missing at least for the standalone thing, stuff that can now compete with other sequencers and samplers. Oops, sorry, that are standalone hardware. For the push to chart, thank you, amazing. Yeah, really big. I'm assuming there's gonna be, I'm assuming it's for sure. Ableton is keep updating the push so much, and we see so many progressions. And just this, it's somewhat small considering everything, but I feel like just the grouping, the stuff, it will really let people go standalone and just really dive deep into the project without going back and forth so much and delete them. Yes, there's also the global grooves that now you can also load on the push. I saw. I played with it a tiny bit. Just the variation is amazing. Like for example, I have this Meld preset pack that I've made with, not Meld, I'm sorry, Drift preset pack. Not to toot my own horn, but if we're already mentioning stuff that Ableton did, guys, I don't know if anyone noticed, but there was one button on the Drift that didn't work, and I had to prove it, and they connect me with the, I forgot the support and stuff, and eventually I think they fixed it. I don't know if it's even announced anywhere. I told them, please, just give me credit, but never matter. Now it's working. But I have a preset pack from the Drift, and each one of these presets has different variations. So, and it's give you a completely different sound. Right, so just different presets essentially that I would look into building my own Max Volley device. Now it's thankfully in the chat, in the push. And it's absolutely amazing, and it's very accessible. Like very quickly, you can look at variations as different presets that you can immediately access through the push. One of the biggest things that I always was envious with hardware, especially hardware keyboards like the Phantom or all those, is that you can just press a button, check a different sound. Button, different sound. A lot of the modern music softwares miss that. One of the earliest versions that I saw that was able to do that was Omnisphere. Omnisphere allows you to map the up-down buttons of the preset selector. I can map these to my MIDI controller. Now with the variation, when I start playing with my preset pack, that again, each preset have like 5 different sounds, or the variations, but it's different sounds essentially. From the push, I start getting that feeling again. That I'm playing, I'm loading, and variation, just moving, that's it, new sound, new sound. It was so immediate and fun. So if you have the push 3, the new update is a big one, and I'm very excited about it. Aaron asked, can you confirm pitch bend on drum racks from push 3 directly with the new update? Oh, that's a good question. I didn't check that. It's in the release notes. I don't know if that was a feature. I'm not sure. Okay, sweet. So as everyone can see, huge update. One of the biggest ones, point ones that I can remember. I'm super excited about it. I also check, Granulator 3 on standalone. No Granulator 3 on standalone yet, I would assume, hopefully. I did see, by the way, Elizabeth Homeland, if anyone knows, it's a developer, Max Volley developer, released really amazing stuff. They released in the past a free LFO for the push. You can actually map everything from the push standalone. It's amazing. So I think now there's an envelope follower and there's a shaper as well from Elizabeth Homeland. If I'm not mistaken, it's free. If anyone can find it, please share it in the chat. Elizabeth Homeland, I think their Max Volley device is free stuff. Juan, I ran into because the filter from Summit sends the CC that change patches. Oh, damn, that can be annoying. But no, yeah, if you can change CC even, also amazing. Sometimes it's glitchy, but if you can change CC, for sure. Or not CC, program list, right? That's also good. Okay, sweet. I wonder if there is a way to use the new tuning system in Omnisphere. Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I would assume, no, I think I remember, Omnisphere has their own tuning, first of all. Okay, right here. But any plugin that can support MPE, wow, I haven't used MPE yet with Omnisphere. but I would assume there's no way it doesn't support MPE. But you just gotta have it support MPE, turn it on, like we saw in, for example, Serum. Does anyone know where it is? I don't want to spend time looking for it. I'm sure you can do that, but let's give an example of a different third-party plugin with the tuning systems. All I have to do is turn on the MPE enabled right here. Sometimes the plugin is already MPE enabled. And then I gotta make sure that the pitch bend range, usually it needs to be 48, okay? 48 pitch bend range. And now the Serum will work with any tuning system that I will give it. Okay, so I'm assuming the Omnisphere is the same. Thank you, Aaron, for sharing. I'm assuming Omnisphere is the same. Okay, any questions, anyone? Whatever it is, Ableton 8, if you want to ask. Any Ableton question that you want. While you're asking questions in the chat, I would recommend checking out the release notes from Ableton's. I'll just put it in the chat. This tells you everything I go over today. We just kind of also shows them examples, but everything I mentioned is here, okay? Really great. Sweet. If anyone is interested, I post a bunch of short Ableton tips and tricks on my Instagram page, okay? Also, if anyone wants to know about the next topic, every Sunday we meet. Last week we did chiptune, before that we did soul sampling. Every time we do a different topic, if you want to know about the next topic, I share the link to join the newsletter. It's just a newsletter, okay? And if anyone wants to check out our previous sessions, I also shared that link. Sweet. Questions. Oh, here's the push stuff. Let's check out the chat. Any questions? Are all these features available in intro and light versions? Chris, that's a great question. I'm not absolutely sure. I'm sure a lot of them are not. A lot of them are suite specific, but I'm sure some of them would be just Ableton. It's not specifically suite. So all the stuff like Echo, I don't think it comes with intro. Meld doesn't come with intro. All the stuff that might be just the stuff that, you know, are only in the suite version will not be supported, but like full height browser, you know, default groove, I would assume. Stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. Nissi, what is the gentlest way to get rid of low noise on acoustic recording? Does Ableton have a tool like Apple? Oh, that's a great question. Ableton don't have a tool, at least not like a noise cleaner, like an automatic one. Try to think of a free one. There are, of course, RX, Isotope, maybe the top most familiar in the market. RX, Isotope RX. I have an old version, Isotope RX. Can give you some noise suppression. There's some other plugins from Waves, have some plugins. Noise or something, if anyone wants to share. But Ableton does not have that feature. Now, if I just want to mention that we do have the classic gate effect, but the gate will only turn off or turn down the volume whenever you don't sing or you don't speak or you don't play. So it doesn't really solve the issue of noise when you're singing or playing. That you will need to some spectral processing that all these plugins are using. And today with AI, I'm assuming you can get like really nice results. I give you an example. For example, when I do my videos, I go Adobe Podcasts. They have this website. If you have Adobe products like the subscription, you have this. And here I have this enhanced speech. So I'm assuming even like maybe this will have a noise cleaner. But I use this and it cleans the noise, it boosts it, it does everything automatically for me. For instrumentation, maybe, you know, there's many plugins, noise, but hopefully we'll get one soon. Juan, you can save a rack with duplicated chain, one inverted polarity, use volume gain to only allow a certain signal come through. Old hi-hat cleanup trick. Okay, yeah, absolutely. That might, and also now Ableton solved some phase issues with the racks, as I saw in the release notes. So that might even work better than before. Thank you, Juan. Alexandre, I love to be able to map the change preset control in native instruments, complete control, and any idea? Okay, if you have the complete control keyboard, which I don't, I have the old one in the garage. you can change the presets from there because it's kind of integrated with the complete control plugin. If you have plugins, let's say like this old school beast, Silence, and you can see right here that its presets are going from 1 to 128 or from 0 to 127. That means that it can accept program changes. And if you have a Max for Live device that can send that, damn, I don't know where I'll find PGM. No. But there is Max for Live devices that allow you to go up and down in the program change. Just to show you what I'm talking about, I can create a MIDI clip here and right here change the program, and when I launch this clip, you see the preset change to number 6. So if plug synthesizers allow it, you can find, and if anyone knows, please share it in the chat, on maxforlive.com, search program list, or program list, program change. I don't know, but there is one. I used them in the past. And then you have a device with just plus and minus. You can map it, or a knob, and then you can switch to presets through there. But the plugin needs to support or that, or like Omnisphere, they actually let you map the up-down buttons. Free noise plug. Oh, denoiser? Oh, what's that? Thank you. Ben, thanks for sharing. Amazing. Is this a good one? No FFT. How do they do this? Okay, amazing. Definitely will check this out. Thank you for sharing. Oh, Moondulator. What is this? Oh, yeah. This is a great company. How much is this? $60. Not too bad. Guys, noise suppression is good to have. Good to have a tool. Juan, sorry for responding to the question. Can I have connected and usable push 2 and 3? Oh, wow. That's a great question. So you have push 2 and push 3. I did a class push 2 and push 3. I couldn't connect them together. That might change already, maybe change in the future. When I last tried it, I could not make both of them work at the same time. So something there needs to be updated. Maybe it already did. I didn't check it since a few months. But that's a great question, Juan. Last time I didn't know. Alexander, sorry, I meant the NI sample plugin. I'm using the NI Spotlight collection sampled instruments. Ah, yeah, I think you're talking about this. Where's my contact? So again, here, I don't think it can receive program changes. Thank you, Juan. That's the one? Ah, if you can map these, that's all you need. But again, not all plugins support that. Alexandra, I believe you're talking something like, let's say, homage, right? Something like this. And you want to change these? Damn. I don't think you can. Might be some scripting involved. I don't know. I'll look into it. That's a good question because I love these stuff. But I think that's what she's talking about. But I don't know about the ones. Aaron, Ben Casey said push 2 and push 3 cannot be connected to the same computer in a Facebook comment yesterday. I do so wonder if you can plug push 2 into push 3 USB port. That's a good idea. Definitely something to try. Although I don't think they pushed. Oh, damn, that's a good question. I'll check it. Chris, RX is the best. Yeah, I think it's pretty expensive. Juan, yeah, still haven't been able to do it. I have to. Yeah, okay. Amazing. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, sweet. Let me share the Discord. Actually, I think we can just send an email about it. Yes, please, Juan, anything. Let me know. You write in the question, no problem. Take your time. Sweet, guys. We have a Discord if anyone wants to join us. You can ask for new topics in the next week's session, or any questions you want, and post your music and stuff like that. Just 1 second. A stupid question. What's your theme color setup? Looks nice. So mine is on default light. natural tone, and I push the grid line intensity all the way up. That's it. High contrast, actually. High contrast as well. Nice. When I'm recording, while recording the arrangement playing from the session view, the note input gets disabled. When you're recording in the arrangement, playing from the session, like with this, note input gets disabled. I wonder. But, oh, thanks you, Alexandra. I appreciate it. Thank you. Discord link? Yeah, okay, let me send it right now, actually, before we're done. I will send it as soon as on Sidebrain if anyone wants to check it out. Of course, there's a lot of information today. And please feel free to join us for the next meetings. If you're in LA, we also have some physical meetings coming up. So if you're in LA, I'll give you another link. This is for our Discord. Here it is. And for the LA user group meetings, this is a separate group that I run. And you can join here if you're in Los Angeles and you're interested in more physical, face-to-face type of events. Okay? Amazing. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Since we have 2 record buttons, I'm recording the arrangement. What I'm doing, multi-track from session view. Juan, I might have to do it separately because I'm not sure I understand the question. Does this not work for push 2? What not work for push 2? Of course, Misha, also great that the Volt is on sale too. Yeah, right now it's on sale. It's the last day that it's on sale. If anyone's interested, there's like 50. I mean, you have to buy 4, but you get 4 free. You can check it out. The deal can be combined with 1 future session. So you can add 1 future session to the music production study group to the card, and then the other 7 that you want. Yes, you can combine it. Oh, wait. You sent the picture. How can I open it? Oh, here we go. Oh, that's if you want to transfer files between the push or not. Now, from the new beta, you're also able to create your own hotspot on the push, so you do not rely on any Wi-Fi and stuff. You can transfer files, but that's only if you're using the push. If not, you can hide it. Pranev. Okay. Oh, for the push to, no, Pranev. Okay, I understand the question now. No, it doesn't work because that's a transfer of files between the push standalone and the Ableton. It's unrelated to the push to. Okay. Amazing. Sweet, everyone. I'm super excited about 12.1. I'm already using it. Please check out my YouTube tomorrow for the official video, if you may. Ableton will also post it on their website, hopefully on Tuesday. Yeah, Juan, no problem, of course. Eren, you got it. Thank you, Eren, for joining again. Oh, Modulator, when is the release of 12.1? I don't know. I'm assuming very soon, but I really have no idea. It's beyond my, I would about to say pay grade, but Ableton don't pay me. I mean, they do pay when I teach at universities and stuff. I mean, what am I saying? They pay me for the video. Ableton does pay me. It's above my pay grade. Juan, thank you. Jason, thank you as always. Nisi. Martin, thank you. I saw your email, Martin. Thank you so much. Ben, thank you for sharing the links, dude. Chiara, thank you for joining. Hiko, good to see everyone. Amazing. Okay, hopefully we'll see you next week. We still don't have a topic, so please, if you're on the Discord, recommend some topics so we can. I'm thinking about Jersey Club. That's going to happen soon as well. Golan, Toda, thank you. Nico. Hiko. Bye, everyone. Peace. The salt sampling, yeah, that was a fun, that was a super fun session. Amazing. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We'll see you next week. We're going to do, not next week, we're going to do another 3 sessions, but if you want, join us for the future ones. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Tim, good to see you. Bye.